This is Middle Class Matt from don'tbuythehype.blogspot.com and NC Sports Genius 1. And you can follow me on Twitter at the same name, NC Sports Genius 1. Today I want to talk about two things. One, I want to continue with my complaints on the referees. I did a blog entry last week complaining about the referees and the poor job they've done and how they've allowed physical play to really dictate and affect the product of NCAA basketball. And two, I want to preview the Final Four. Well, previewing the Final Four, we see Louisville versus Kentucky. And this should be a good matchup only because they're rivals. And they're in the same state, and they hate each other, and they want to win. But I really don't see any chance for Louisville to win this game. Matter of fact, if we take a 100% chance and we divide it between the teams, I give Louisville a 2% chance. Now, the refs can somehow step in and feel like they want the underdog to win, and if that happens, then possibly Louisville can scrape one out, but most likely not. Anthony Davis, who most people consider to be the National Player of the Year, I've had my doubts because of his scoring average. He rebounds and blocks shots well and does a lot of other things, but he only averages about 14, 15 points a game. That's not a huge deal, but there's probably 100 guys in college basketball that average that. But watching him play in this tournament, you see how he affects the game. It's clear. I've thought that Thomas Robinson from Kansas was probably a better candidate, but I just don't know. I mean, what he makes do, I heard an announcer explain it. Pretty much, when you run up and down with Kentucky, their big men run the floor so well, they get dunks and layups the entire time. And then when you slow it down and try to get the ball inside, you can't do it because Anthony Davis blocks every shot. He's really an incredible ball player. And his length is just, it's unnatural almost, how long he is and how he affects the game. On the other side, Ohio State is playing Kansas. And I already talked about Thomas Robinson. He's a beast, just a load down low. And I really think Jared Sullinger for Ohio State is going to have a hard time with him because of his height. Now, this game's a real toss-up. If I had to bet money, I wouldn't want to. I give Kansas the advantage, but I give it, let's say, 55% to 45%. Because I could really see Ohio State winning this game. They both play good defense, and neither one of them have great offenses, but if I had to vote on who had a better offense, I'd probably say Ohio State. But at the same time, I'm just always about length and height. And I really feel like Ohio State, who struggle with taller, bigger teams, is going to have trouble scoring the ball down low, especially Sullinger against 7'1", center of Kansas, and Thomas Robinson, who's 6'10", about 250. And just like I said, an absolute load. So it should be Kansas and Kentucky. And Kentucky will win in the end, and they'll dominate them with athleticism. They'll have all the height that Kansas has, but they'll have a better scoring arsenal, better guards, and they'll just overwhelm Kansas in the end. That's what I hope happens, because I have a bracket. Actually, I had a bracket pool that I asked everybody from YouTube here to take part in if they wanted to challenge me and see if they knew more about sports than I did. The second bracket I filled out in this pool actually has Kentucky on one side. The other team I lost, but then I have Ohio State and Kansas. So if Kansas can see Kentucky and Kentucky can win, I win it. So I'm pulling for that to happen anyway, even though that seems like the most likely matchup. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State plays Kentucky, but they have no chance against them either. So I really feel like Kentucky will blow both teams out in the end. Now back to the physical play. Can you imagine as a college basketball fan how good it would be to see UNC face off Kentucky in the championship? Which it seems like that's what the NCAA committee wanted to happen. Now, those who are out there talking about physical play is just a part of basketball and this is a contact sport now and all this kind of stuff, that may be true. But imagine what that would be like. Carolina was the only team with the personnel to face Kentucky. Yes, UNC is my team. Yes, I'd like to see them win the championship. But just as a basketball fan, imagine that matchup. But because of the refs allowing physical play and allowing too much of it, Kendall Marshall was given a really hard foul, hurt his wrist, and now we can't see that matchup. Carolina's at home. So as college basketball fans, we have to be sort of disappointed. NCAA should almost take a chapter out of the NFL and what they're doing. And I don't really like this as a pure football fan. I like hard-nosed, hard-hitting football, but they protect the quarterbacks. It's no fun, like let's say 2 years ago, to see New England play Indianapolis if Brady and Manning aren't playing. If you have the two backup quarterbacks, nobody wants to see that. So the NFL protects the quarterbacks. I don't love that all the time, but it makes it makes sense, and it's using a lot of common sense to have the stars and the people that you want to see out there playing. Now, that's something that would have been nice in college basketball. If they would ref these games and call fouls that are fouls and not let them push and shove like football, then we would be seeing UNC and Kentucky most likely in a championship. Now, we don't ever know what would have happened, but it looked like the UNC with Marshall probably would have beaten Kansas, and they probably would have gone on to see Kentucky in the championship. I would give the edge to Kentucky if they played, but what a great NCAA tournament championships that could have been. So let's hope that the refs rein things in. This is Middle Class Matt from don'tbuythehype.blogspot.com and NC Sports Genius 1. I'll see you next time.